How do we get both sides of the political aisle to agree on something that is kind of like really interesting? Apparently, the answer is Ghost of Yotei. One of the most anticipated sequels of the year is now facing boycott on both sides of the aisle. As a content creator who covers this industry, this story is pretty chilling. Not really. It's a perfect example of the impossible lose lose situation where studios were doomed no matter what it did. This is about one time bad joke or one time angry tweet. It's about the sickness and the poisoning of the entire gaming industry from the inside out. We're not just going to be covering the one tweet. We're going to be covering a lot of things that a lot of people didn't like about Ghost of Yotei. They're just using this to kind of cancel their pre orders. That's what I'm seeing. For most of us, Ghost of Yotei was a guaranteed masterpiece. It followed up to the Sucker Punch incredible Ghost of Tsushima's. And of course, the hype around this went up the roof when it first got seen at the State of Play. But just weeks before its release, the conversation completely shifted. It wasn't about the open world or the story anymore, not yet. Instead, the game became more of an epicenter of a culture war that a lot of people is kind of still on the fences about. Now, if you guys do know, a conservative podcaster named of Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th during his debate against college kids on a college campus. And of course, there on the both sides of the aisle, there was a lot of back and forth, kind of like, and as someone who was covering, a lot of things, especially with Ghost of Yotei, this was kind of like the topping point. There was a lot of toxic environments when it came to this conversation. Now, if you guys do follow me, I try not to talk about politics. I try to keep politics in the bare minimum of my platform because politics right now is very divisive. It is very extreme right now. Everybody is angry, not just on the left, but mainly on the right. I think they're finally realizing that the things that they want to get and the things that they was promised during the election is not really becoming the golden age of America. But for me personally, like I said, I don't want to talk about politics right here. There's other people on this platform that can kind of deep dive into that because if we get into politics and we get into conversation, the comment sections of my videos is going to be all up in smoke and everybody's going to be, and I try not to have that on my channel because the conversation can explode into something completely mind-boggling and I try to keep it neutral. But if you want to voice your opinion on the situations of, surrounded by politics, that is really up to you. Just keep it to a bare minimum. Now, a lot of people want to know what is the timeline of this controversy? What is the big controversy surrounding Ghost of Yotei? So it all started when Drew Harris, a senior artist at Sucker Punch, made a post on social media. I don't know which one it was. I don't know if it's Blue Sky or on X. The post was a joke about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which was immediately intercepted and celebrated as political violence against a political figure. The backlash from the right was instant. Like everybody jumped right in and decided that Sony and Sucker Punch need to jump into this. We're gonna boycott Ghost of Yotei was the kind of like the ultimate quickly trend right now. Well, as far as like last week, gamers began canceling their pre-orders, sharing screenshots of their refunds, and demand that Sony and Sucker Punch take action. And their argument was that the joke about anyone's murder, regardless of politics, crossed a major moral line. Now, I know a lot of people might say, well, Charlie does the same thing. Why shouldn't it be no different than him? I don't know because Charlie Kirk was a really this big podcaster. He started his turning point at the age of 18 and he became a center vocal point for the youth. And the youth was the reason why maybe that, we have this current man in the White House. And he was very, very big on college campuses. He went everywhere and he debated college kids. And a lot of people are probably saying, well, isn't he kind of like changing and like plaguing minds at a young age? Isn't he like grooming young people to be this type of person that they shouldn't be? Yes, maybe he was. But like I said, that is a different channel, different time to talk about that. Regardless of the pressure, which reportedly include instant harassment for Sony, they quietly confirmed that Drew Harris is no longer an employee at Sucker Punch Production. As of, I think was like Wednesday or Thursday, that person has been let go. Did it stop the bleeding? I think so. Compared to when I was previewing Ghost of Yotei on Friday, I noticed that it was a trending game in the PlayStation Store. Like, it's still trending right now as the hot top game as of right now, being pre-orders. And the preload starts on September 25th, and the game is set to release on October 2nd. Now, meanwhile, it kind of triggers something separate of a shockwave on the left side of the aisle where they were talking about, that's not fair that Sucker Punch and Sony fire this person because you're infringing into their freedom of speech, which is understandable. But a lot of people have to understand when it comes to freedom of speech, if you're doing things at your workplace on a private property and your company knows that you're doing that, they have the right to fire you. So it's like a lose-lose situation on both sides of the aisle. Just like let's lose for example, like Ghost of Yotei. We have this big ad box for Ghost of Yotei that we're gonna put in the electronics area of my store. And of course, it's in the back of the electronics stock room. There's cameras in there because it's electronics. There's a lot of expensive equipment in there. And they see me on camera taking a picture of Ghost of Yotei's games for PlayStation 5 or whatever they have for Ghost of Yotei that's going to be set to release on October 2nd. And they see me back there on the clock taking pictures and posting this on social media. My company has the right to fire me. So I don't know what Drew Harris did. I don't know if he did this in the privacy of his home. Maybe that might be a little bit of difference. But if he did this on the grounds of Sucker Punch, they have the right to fire him. So it's a lose-lose situation. Either or, they're still gonna fire you. People are still getting fired even if they're not on the clock. And it might be infringe of the First Amendment right where they can take them to court and the court can say, look, the person did this in the privacy of their home. There's no point of you firing them. They have that right to speak that. Now, if they're saying some really derogatory things, talking about killing somebody, okay, that might be a difference. But if you're joking about it, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a lose-lose situation at this point. Everybody loses their jobs. Is it fair? For their purpose, yes, because it was such a big issue and people was jumping on social media harassing, I guess harassing Sucker Punch employees like, hey, you need to get on a job, you need to fire this person. This person got killed. Now, let's just keep this in mind. Charlie Kirk's death was really hard to watch. Uh, it was pretty bad to kind of see that. The response on the online mob to demand this person to lose their job was it was completely understandable as a PR perspective. But at the same time, I know where some people are coming from because they're like, well, that's not fair because that person got fired, maybe doing something on their off day. But like I will repeat, it's a lose-lose situation. There was a lot of boycotts saying that, oh, Sucker Punch is endorsing political violence and a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, the developer did lost their job. Unfortunately. So before I even end this video, I'm just gonna give you my honest opinion. Yes, I did pre-order Ghost of Yotei because I'm a type of person who plays games. The beautiful thing about America is you have the right to do whatever you want to do. You don't have to basically, buy this game. You don't have to buy it. I mean, you don't have to spend your money. Just like how people are not spending their money for Disney Plus anymore and everybody canceled their Hulu subscription because of the Jimmy Kimmel. As we speak, Disney lost $4 billion as you look at it because what they did. And look at Target. Target decided that they want to cancel their DAI and lost $12 billion in that space of time. So we as consumers don't have to buy the product. Now, like I said, as I speak through to you guys on the video, Ghost of Yotei is still the top selling game on the PlayStation Store as we speak. It's being top seller. And as of right now, it looked like the deluxe edition is being bought up a lot. A lot of people has canceled their standard and deluxe edition to get the collector edition to be in solidarity with the Sucker Punch employee that lost their job. So at the end of the day, it is a lose-lose situation, but at the end of the day, everybody wins. Ghost of Yotei's controversy is just a cautionary at the moment. They did the right thing right now by letting the developer go, and at the end of the day, everybody won. The right, basically got that person fired, and they're happy. And the people who's going to enjoy this game bought the game at the end of the day. This industry right now is on a firestorm. Everybody is not happy at like how some studios are having female leads as I guess the main character. There's people in the comment section like, "Oh my god, what happened to Jean Sake?" and all this stuff. It's like, well, they're moving on from that story and they're moving on for a different time period. And for me, I really appreciate that on Sucker Punch. And they're like, look, Jean Sake's story has come to an end. We're moving into a different era of Japan. And hopefully in the near future, if they'll come out with another ghost character, he'd be in a different time period too. So at the end of the day, everybody's happy. This industry right now is, like I said, is not everybody's not satisfied. But for me personally, I just want to play games. That's all that really matters. And Ghost of Yotei was happy when GTA 6 was was delayed for 2026. So everybody at the end of the day in this industry was happy. And so long that the studio is happy, gamers are happy. Leave your comments down below and thank you for watching.